Hello. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm not sure which it is for you. It's right on the cusp for me. Hello to be on the safe side. It's Lynn from the Learn English Network, and we're in Kitely for the ESL drama poetry song session. And because we're going to be doing a little bit of Halloween in a week or so, I thought we'd do something very simple today that's almost related to what we were talking about in Back to Basics. And there's a clue sitting next to Shiny on the chair and on the floor in front of April about what we're going to read about and talk about today. Any ideas? Shiny, April, Vinay? What might we be talking about today? Those of you who were in the session, pets, yeah, but specific pets, because there's not general pets around here.
Cats.
Yeah, cats, and not just cats. There's a cat on the chair.
Kitten.
Kittens, yes. There are two little kittens. Now, do you know what we often say about cats? There's a lot of idioms to do with cats. Domesticated animals. The first pet is Shiny, yes. Shiny, we'll have to make you our mascot. So domesticated animals, yes, cats are domesticated. That's very true. And of course the grown-up cat is called a cat. So we've got this black cat sitting on the chair, and then we've got the two kittens. That's baby cats, basically. We call them kittens. Okay. Do you know any idioms to do with cats? Do you know any sayings we have about cats? Okay, to let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, let the cat out of the bag. What does that... April, take the mic, because this is speaking session, of course. What does that mean to you, to let the cat out of the bag?
To tell the secret. Some secrets.
Yes, if you have a secret and you spill the beans, another one, or you let that secret... you tell the secret to somebody else and they tell it to somebody else. It's got to be sort of passed along so it's not a secret anymore. Then you have let the cat out of the bag indeed. Okay. Now, I've no idea where it came from. I have no idea where this expression came from. There's, in the etymology dictionary, they do say that people used to go to market to buy a pig. Pigs were very popular as food, and people kept they didn't go to the supermarkets. This is way back in medieval times. So there was no supermarket. You would buy a pig, and people who couldn't afford to go to the butchers and just buy the meat would buy a piglet, and they would fatten it up and then have it for Christmas once it was fully grown. So they'd feed it at home, maybe in the yard, they'd feed it on scraps, and then when it was fat enough they would slaughter it and eat it. So they weren't pets. But what would happen is that very disreputable, naughty market sellers would sell them a piglet, but when they got home they would open the bag with the piglet in and find it was a cat. Had you ever heard of that?
No.
Yep. So, of course, as soon as you opened the bag, there was the cat. The secret was out. You had been conned. Okay. You had bought what you thought was going to be a nice meal for the family for Christmas in a few months' time, and what you got was a pussycat. Oh, Reem's wanting to join us. Hang on. So let's send her a teleport. Oh, hang on. Go on, Reem. Come and teleport to us. Okay. Let's hope she can manage to find us. Okay, so we wouldn't say raining as cats and dogs. We would say it's raining cats and dogs. It sounds very literal. Now, really, we don't use that idiom much anymore because it's become a bit of a cliche. But lots of learners like that expression. It's raining cats and dogs. And of course, it just means it's raining very heavily. Now, I like the one that Shiny's just written, to be the cat's whiskers. Shiny, what does that mean to you if you are called the cat's whiskers?
Impressive. Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are considered to be the best, the best dressed, the most skilled, then you can say, oh, she's the cat's whiskers. Now, it can also be used negatively, as in, oh, she thinks she's the cat's whiskers. It depends how you say it, okay? Cool. And we talked about what the cat uses the whiskers for in today's session, but it's nothing to do with it. I've no idea, again, how that became a good thing. I suppose because cats are always preening, to preen. That's when they're cleaning themselves and they take a special care of their whiskers. So maybe that's where that... Yes, it's okay. We heard it multiple times. Don't worry. Okay, Vinay, you've just put a cat nap. What does that mean to you?
Short nap.
Yeah, a little sleep, a tiny little sleep, a cat nap.
Short sleep.
Do you take cat naps?
Yes, sometimes I took a cat nap. I usually take a cat nap.
Yeah, sometimes I take. Yeah, well done, you corrected yourself. Sometimes I take a cat nap. I mean, a nap is a short sleep, and a cat nap is even shorter than that. Because cats don't really seem to sleep very deeply. They seem to be half awake a lot of the time. Reem, you've just joined us. We're talking about cat idioms, okay? And then another one Vinay's put, curiosity kills the cat. Now, Vinay, what does that mean to you?
Being curious can lead to dangerous situation. I think often it is used when someone is asking unwanted questions.
Yeah, if somebody keeps asking you maybe personal questions or questions you could say to them, curiosity killed the cat, you know. And don't do stupid things, exactly. There's a shut door. Don't open it, because, you know, there might be something dangerous behind it. We often say it to children, of course, because children are curious by nature. So what would happen if I did this? What would happen if I did that? Yeah, maybe you don't want to do that. It's dangerous. Okay, now have you ever heard of, has the cat got your tongue? Something I often feel like saying to Shiny. Why would I want to say, has the cat got your tongue, Shiny? Why would I want to say that to you?
All the words just cannot come up with my mouth. I think I. Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry. I think you told us before, but I'm not sure. Sorry about that.
Well, that's why these sort of things are always worth repeating. It means, yes, when you're unwilling to speak, somebody asks you a question and you don't reply, they might say, "What's the matter? Has the cat got your tongue?" Okay. What about a copycat? Have you ever heard of a copycat? Oh, he's such a copycat.
Many times. Many times when
Yeah.
something imitates someone or something.
That's it, yes. Don't be a copycat. When somebody copies somebody else's work or ideas and they just always following the lead of other people, they don't do their own thing, you might accuse them of being a copycat. How about, is there a film named Copycat? Oh, tell me, Shiny, is it a horror film? Sounds like a horror film.
The infamous other criminal.
Yeah, they do talk about copycat murders in these crime dramas, crime series and crime films. You might hear somebody saying it's a copycat murder. So when there's a serial killer, some people seem to be attracted to them and they try to carry out a similar kind of murder, and they call that a copycat murder. Not the original serial killer, but somebody who's emulating, who's copying what they do and how. Not a nice term at all. Yeah, it sounded, just the term copycat, that's why it sounded like a horror film to me. Be like all about killing and nastiness. Okay, let's keep on crime. How about a cat burglar? What about a cat burglar? What do you think that means? Any ideas? I mean, you can have a burglar. Does everybody know what a burglar is and does?
Burglar is known for his stealthy or sneaky actions.
Yeah, a burglar is somebody who breaks into your home or building and steals things. And a cat burglar is one who does it in a really stealthy way. Often cat burglars are the people who go for very high-end jewellery, diamonds, etc. And they're well known. I think the most famous film about a cat burglar is The Pink Panther. Spider-Man's not a burglar. No, he's a superhero. But if you know The Pink Panther, da-da, 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 the Pink Panther was, of course, the diamond, but somebody was trying to steal it, and that person was a cat burglar. Okay.
So it doesn't have to do with the height of the building, but the height of the goal.
Kind of, yeah. And the criminal element. The goal is crime. A cat burglar, you wouldn't get a cat burglar superhero because a burglar is a criminal, okay? But you have your burglar who might smash a window to gain entry to the building, and a cat burglar who would probably lower himself or herself down the chimney. There would be no breakages. There'd be no sign of how that person got into the building. Okay? Okay, then there's a horrible one which cats probably don't like very much. And this is one my mum used to say. Yeah, Catwoman was sort of half superhero, half villain, wasn't she? She had amoral. But yes, exactly. Now there's another one, and I often say this to students, more advanced students, who want to know how do I say this sentence. Okay, and if I answer there's more than one way to skin a cat, what might I be telling them? It's not a very nice saying, is it? There's more than one way to skin a cat. Any ideas?
Different way to solve something, maybe?
Yeah, not just to solve it, just to do things. There's more than one way to do things. And I say this to English students because English isn't math. There's no formula. So there is more than one way to form a sentence. There's more than one way to answer a question correctly. You can't apply logic sometimes to what we say and how we say it. Okay, so it just means there's more than one way of doing something. There's more than one way of learning a language. There's more than one way of taking part in the sessions, for example. Okay, and then we've got another one. What if I said to somebody they're a scaredycat? Ooh, you're such a scaredycat. What is a scaredycat?
Chicken. No?
Yeah, good. An idiom to answer an idiom. Yeah, you're just afraid of everything. No, not bold. Cats are, well, there is a bold cat, isn't there? If you've ever watched that episode of Friends where she brings that ugly cat home. Is it Phoebe does? I can't remember, but anyway. There are bold cats, but no, nothing to do with the hair. Just to be afraid of everything. Don't be such a scaredy cat. Try it. And what would I mean if I had... Now, let me just see if I've got one. Okay, so here we've got a couple of cats, a couple of kittens and a cat. And you're... Try to guess what I mean, what idiom I'm demonstrating here. Okay. Let me just make him a bit smaller. That's one. Okay. I hope you can see it quite quickly. What have I just resed?
A bird.
What kind of bird? Remember we were talking about birds is
Pigeons.
general. Pigeons, yeah. So we got some pigeons here. Not really house pets, but people do keep pigeons as pets. Now, what idiom might I be showing here? Okay, just with those 3 pigeons and that cat. What idiom? Any ideas? Do a Google search for cat and pigeon.
To put the cats among the pigeons.
Yeah! To put the cat among the pigeons. Now, what does that mean, Vinay? Well done.
It's mean that saying someone to do or say something that will make a lot of people angry or worried.
Yeah, if you put the cat among the pigeons, you're doing something that will make everybody either afraid or will make them over concerned about something, and it's generally something you say or do. Okay. Oh no, that's put the cat among the pigeons.
I thought that the cat will like it. Cat will eat the pigeon, no?
Yes, but we're looking at this from the pigeon's perspective. The pigeons would not like it. Okay. If you had a pigeon coop, in the past people would keep pigeon coops. Nowadays, pigeons are often racing pigeons. We were talking about racing camels, racing greyhounds, racing horses. Well, you can have racing pigeons too. Pigeons that are bred to race, homing pigeons. They'd be released away from home and they'd come back as quickly as they could, and whoever got back the fastest would be the winner. So if you put a cat in a pigeon coop, you can imagine how the pigeons would react. They would be very likely to just fly away, run around, and generally be terrified, bless. Okay, any questions? It's about 10, 11, 12 idioms just to do with cats. Idioms are great, but yes, they can be a little bit confusing sometimes. They're never literal.
Lynn, is a cat frightening? Because sometimes, if when I was still little, my sister sometimes said that I'm like a cat because I'm always angry and something like that.
Well, cats can have that reputation. Cats often fight. If you have a cat fight, okay, it's normally a fight between 2 women. A cat fight.
Wild cat fights.
Yeah. Yeah, a cat fight. A fight between women are scary when they fight, by the way. We don't go by the Queensberry rules of boxing. We just let everything out. So it's called a cat fight. So maybe that's what she meant, April. And cats aren't trainable. You can't train a cat. We've also got the to fight like cat and dog. Okay, cats and dogs are quite notorious for not getting on, but as you know, I had 2 cats and 2 dogs. They got on fine. They just respected each other's space. They even would sleep together on the sofa. It's about just training and showing that they don't have to be enemies. But generally speaking, people think of cats and dogs as being natural enemies, and so we have this saying, to fight like cat and dog. People who won't get on no matter what you try, they'll always disagree with each other, they will always argue, they will fight like cat and dog. Okay? Okay, so what we're going to do today, because I want you all to do some reading, we're going to read, believe it or not, a nursery rhyme. Now the nursery rhyme is set at night, so I'm going to change the settings. Oh, that's too. I'm going to make it night time. Let's see if I can do that. is it? So a little bit darker outside. Let's just check. Oh yes. So we're now at night time. And let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. So April, you were the first person to speak to me today, so I'll give you the first rhyme. Okay. Oh, hang on, don't read that. Sorry. No. I'll put the line under that. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Two little kittens one stormy night began to quarrel and then to fight. One had a mouse, the other had none, and that's the way the quarrel began.
Very good. Okay. Now, you know what a quarrel is, yes? Has anybody got another word for a quarrel? If you've got sisters and brothers, you should know what a quarrel is.
I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I'd muted whilst you read. So, a quarrel. What's another word for a quarrel? Not a cross, no. A cross is the sign of the cross. It is also a verb, to quarrel. It's not to fight. It's an an. Don't forget an, because it starts with a. The next word starts with a vowel. An argument, yes. It's another word for an argument, to quarrel. Now, fight, yes, you could have a verbal fight, I suppose, but fight tends to be more physical. But you could say to two people who are quarrelling or arguing, don't fight. Come on now, don't fight, it's not worth it. Okay. A dispute, yes, to dispute something. To quarrel about something, to argue about something. So, to argue, to quarrel, they're practically synonyms. Yeah. To dispute, you have to have something there. So you can argue about something. Any ideas? What might they be arguing about? Two kittens.
Yes, the two little kittens are fighting. I think they are fighting on the issues that one of them has a mouse, one of them had a mouse, and the other had none. So this is the main issue on which they are
Yeah,
fighting.
absolutely. There's a mouse. Not a computer mouse, of course. A real mouse. And the two kittens, there's two kittens and one mouse. What to do? Be careful about pray, Shiny. It's pray with an E. To pray, that's about prayers. And pray is about hunting. You're welcome. Okay. And mice are cats' natural prey. Okay, so I think the next person to speak to me today was Shiny. So Shiny, let me give you your text. Okay, Shiny, there's your text.
I'll have that mouse, said the biggest cat. You'll have that mouse? We'll see about that. I'll have that mouse, said the eldest son. You shouldn't have that mouse, said the little one.
Ah, not shouldn't. You
Something.
Okay, so shouldn't is the short form of should not. That would be like giving advice. Oh, you shouldn't eat that mouse. You'll have a tummy ache. But this one is more of a threat, and that's short for shall not. And we say shan't. You shan't have that mouse, said the little one. As in, you will not. Now, shall not, it's more British English than American English. Shall, we still use it. It's almost disappeared in American English. You shall go to the ball, Cinderella. You shall not, you shan't have that mouse. Okay? So try it. Try that last line, Shiny.
You shan't have that mouse, said the little one.
Very good. Excellent. Any questions?
And now we have 3 cats. The biggest,
Yeah.
the eldest.
Well, look at the cat on the chair. He could probably pounce on that mouse from that chair, because cats are very good at pouncing and jumping. So you've got the 2 kittens and the cat. Who's going to have the mouse? Poor mouse. Now, I'm going to add something here. What have I just resed on the coffee table? Oh, hang on, sorry. So what have I just put on the coffee table? A broom. Yeah, well done. A broom. It's almost Halloween, isn't it? Okay, so Vinay, if you could read the next verse.
Okay. I told you before it was a stormy night when these 2 little kittens began to cry. The old woman seized her sweeping broom and swept the kittens right out of the room.
Very good. So I grab my broom and I sweep the kittens out of the room. Okay, so a broom and to sweep. Now, do you know what 'twas means? 'Twas.
It was.
Yes. It's a little bit of literary English. 'Twas a dark and stormy night. So it's short for it was. Now, you wouldn't use it, you wouldn't say it in normal English speaking, conversational English, but you will find it in poetry, in literature. It's a slightly old-fashioned term, but it's still used. 'Twas the night before Christmas. It helps because it was 2 syllables. 'Twas 1 syllable. It helps the flowing and the rhythm of the poetry or the story. Okay? Well done, April. Can you remember 'Twas the Night Before Christmas? We did it a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Any questions? Everybody okay so far? Okay, then Reem, and have you got voice, Reem?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good, 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 good. So your sentence, your verse.
Yes. The ground was covered with frost and snow, and the two little kittens had nowhere to go, so they laid them down on the mat at the door, while the old woman finished sweeping the floor.
Well done. Yes, the floor. You corrected yourself. Excellent. Good. So cats like warmth. They like dry. They don't like water. They don't like the cold. So the poor little kittens. There's no mouse. They're outside because they were being naughty and noisy. So she's thrown them out. Any questions? Haha, yes. Oh, we don't actually say that. What do we say? I was going to do this later, but anyway. As quiet as a... Not a cat. As quiet as a... Yes, as quiet as a mouse. As quiet as a mouse. Because mice are prey, so they tend to be quiet. As quiet as a mouse. That's why in the poem we did, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," it goes, "And all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." So it was very, very quiet. Okay.
Don't you write nowhere in one word, Lynn?
Yes.
Or is it different? Yeah?
Yes. Cut and paste is always dangerous. It should be one word. Well spotted. They had nowhere to go. Now, once upon a time, it would have been 2 words probably. But nowhere we would now write the same way as somewhere. Okay. Okay, so April, you get the last rhyme. What do you think is going to happen? Any ideas?
If it was me, I will let kittens inside again.
Ah, you're nice. Well, I think the mouse would probably have figured out, okay, this is my chance to escape. Oh, hang on, sorry. He'd go back into the kettle, which is where he's been living. There you are, nice and warm by the fire. Nobody knows he's there. So, April, if you'd like to read the last rhyme.
Okay, thank you. Then they crept in as quiet as mice, all wet with snow and cold as ice, for they found it was better that stormy night to lie down and sleep than to quarrel and fight.
Very good, well done. So you were right, April. You got it. Better to lie down and sleep in front of the fire than to quarrel and fight over a mouse. And as you notice, as quiet as mice, they crept in. They didn't want to be swept out again. by the old woman with her broom. Yes. Cats are clever. Cats are clever. They're not stupid animals. A lot of people think that cats aren't as clever as dogs because dogs do as they're told. But I think they're cleverer than dogs because they get to sit by the fire all day instead of going out to work or race. I've never heard of racing cats. Have you?
I have one question.
Yes, go on.
What is mean of crafting? It is mean?
Crept. To creep.
Crafting.
Yeah. To creep, it's an irregular verb. Crept. Crept in. Yeah. Okay, so if you creep somewhere, you do it very quietly and very carefully. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I've got a creeping... No, I haven't got one. But it means to walk very... So a burglar would creep into the house. They'd move very quietly and very, very slowly. You can also creep along if you're doing something very slowly. Crept along in the queue of traffic because we were on the M25. That's tiptoe. To tiptoe. Like tiptoe through the tulips, April.
Hello, Pablo.
Oh. Yeah, your mic's open, Vinay. Don't forget to mute.
Okay.
That's okay. Mute, unmute, mute, unmute in sessions, especially if you're in a noisy environment, family, home, that kind of thing. Okay?
So if you creep in, you don't need to walk on your toes, Lynn. Just silently.
You have to be silent. You could tiptoe and creep in, but to creep is more about the speed at which you do it. Okay? For example, the song Tiptoe Through the Tulips. He's not creeping, he's almost dancing through the tulips. Tiptoe through the tulips, through the window. But to creep is more about being very slow and stealthy. Okay? It can also mean to sort of lower yourself down and creep along the floor. Okay? Close to the ground. But very slowly. If the hours are creeping, it means the time's going really slowly. And if somebody creeps up on you, it means you haven't noticed them. So again, that thing of stealth. So if I were to very, very quietly and very stealthily, very slowly, maybe I could hunker down a bit, yeah, and go, yeah, like that. And I could creep up on Reem and go, boo! Have you got the idea, Vinay? Sort of very, very carefully. Whoop. I wasn't very careful. Oh, I think I just squashed a kitten. Sorry, kitty. Any other questions? Is that okay, Vinay? Have you got that? If you imagine, Vinay, very, very late at night, okay, when you were younger and you'd been out, your mum and dad had said, be home by 9 o'clock, but you didn't get home till midnight, and you hope they're asleep in bed and they haven't noticed, and you creep into the house really quietly so you don't get told off.
Yes.
We've all
it
done
happened.
it. Yeah.
When,
Well, you were creeping, okay? Now, don't confuse it with to be a creep. That's really horrible. If somebody is called a creep, it means they're just nasty. Um, it just means it's an insult, okay? Just somebody you really dislike. Oh, I can't stand him. He's such a creep. He's always sucking up to the boss, and he's always just. If you want to find a creep in a book, Uriah Heep in Dickens, he was so creepy. He was such a creep. Oh yes, Mr. Ooh. Yeah, in American films. It doesn't mean the same as the verb. Quite often these words have a noun version and a verb version. Sometimes they're similar, sometimes they're completely different meanings. You have to learn them in context. Okay? So just because you crept into the house, Vinay, doesn't mean you're a creep. Okay? Oh, he's such a creep. Okay, how are we doing for time? Right, I've got to finish on time today. I know that's very unusual for me, but I was saying to April this morning after Rome, one, I'm very tired. Two, I didn't go to the gym yesterday, so I have a gym session booked and try and uncrick my back after Rome. So I hope you
you didn't
enjoyed
go
today's.
to the gym yesterday.
I didn't go, no. I was going to, but I never managed it. I was so tired.
Well, I also didn't go to the gym yesterday, so that's. I'm also thinking to go today.
Ah, okay. I didn't go to the I didn't go to the gym yesterday either. It's a bit complicated, I know. I also didn't, because I also is more positive. So I did that too, but
Okay.
I didn't do it either. Okay, well we'll both go to the gym then, Vinay. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyhow, it's lovely chatting with you all, and I hope you enjoyed the little rhyme. It might seem odd doing a nursery rhyme. They were written for children, but think about it. That's how we learn our English as children. And sometimes the rhyme will stick in your brain better than a long sentence about the cat sat on the mat. So I hope you enjoyed it. You too, Shiny. Bye. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.